Welcome to Her Life Unscripted podcast, inspiring burnt out, stressed out, and stretched thin women to embrace the unscriptedness of life. Hosted by Anna Osborne.
Hello, lovely ladies, and welcome to Her Life Unscripted. My name is Anna Osborne, and I am your host, and this is episode number 72. It is so great to be back with all of you after last month's hiatus. And yeah, it was weird not podcasting for the month. It's such a part of my weekly routine and a way to just slow down and really kind of take in all that's happened for me and also to be able to connect with all of you. So it was definitely different not having that, but I'm excited to be back. And I'm trying something a little crazy this month. So I'm going to hopefully have you guys bear with me. As most of you know, the Shine Retreat for Women is this weekend. And it's been something that both myself and Mari have just been working so hard at creating and manifesting, and just our blood, sweat, and tears has gone into this. So you guys will hear this episode on Tuesday, which is actually the weekend after the Shine Retreat concludes. But my thought was, this is such a learning process for me. I have done lots of live events. I do live events for couples quite often, and I do trainings for different corporations and things like that. But this is my first women's retreat out of town sort of situation. And so what I thought was, I think I might use this opportunity as a way to really kind of dive into each day of the retreat, and not in a way to, give away any secrets or spoil the surprise for anybody, but really as a way to kind of share about my journey of learning and hopefully connect with you guys around your journey of learning. So this is my vision. I'm not 100% sure how it's going to play out, but we're going to roll with it because this is Her Life Unscripted, right? So today is Thursday, and I fly out tomorrow morning at the crack of dawn for the retreat. My kids, of course, have back to school night tonight, so I wasn't able to get out tonight. So I'll be leaving tomorrow morning, and then the retreat starts Friday evening, all day Saturday, and then most of Sunday. So my vision is to be able to record a podcast that will come up the week after next, and that will actually be on Friday night. And then each day of the retreat, I will actually record a podcast to be able to kind of share what I'm learning. So it's almost this like living, breathing journal. So I'm excited about it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what comes of it. And it'll be a cool way for you guys to not really experience the retreat so much, because obviously you would, be there to enjoy all of it, but as a really cool way to kind of just be on this journey with me as I'm taking on obviously a new challenge and really being able to learn about myself in the process. So that is the vision. And I promise you the next month is not going to be all about promoting Shine or telling you to come next year. It's really more about this place of learning to pause when we are in something to find the lessons there. I have a quote right next to my mirror in my home that says, "We are on the journey much longer than we are at the destination." And so that really is the focus of this month's learning, and this month's podcast is all about that journey. Yeah, so that is the plan, and I'm excited to have you guys kind of on that journey with me. So we will see how it all plays out in execution, because we all know that there can be amazing plans for things, and it just doesn't occur the way that it's supposed to. So that is that. And, as life would have it, my baby girl woke me up at about 5 this morning saying she wasn't feeling well. And of course she was hot as can be and had a fever and a cough and a stuffy nose. And she said she had a headache. So of course there's this moment of getting ready to leave for the weekend and just be with all these amazing women. And I've got a little girl who's saying, "Mama, I'm sick. I can't go to school today." And I'm going, holy crap, what do I do with that? So that really is the stuff that life hands us when we are busy making plans. And that's really what I want us to focus our month on, is what do we do when we are on the journey and we just want to get to the destination. So to share a little bit about kind of where I'm at, obviously the day before the retreat, I am realizing, and what I've been realizing these last few weeks, is that it is very, very easy to make lots and lots of plans, and it is much harder to pivot in the moment when you feel like the plan that you've created is the only way to get there. And that really comes from a great conversation I had with a girlfriend the other day. My husband and I were debating on whether or not to buy a new home and whether it was the right time for us. And there are about 8,000 reasons of why it's the right time for us. And the house is perfect, the timing is perfect, all these sorts of things that were perfect. And about 2 nights ago, him and I sat down and realized that although there are many, many reasons and good reasons why it is the right time for us to buy a new house, that it's not the right time for us. And making a decision when everything seems right and it still doesn't feel right for you is a really, really hard decision to make. And so talking with my girlfriend about this, of kind of, should we put an offer in? Should we not? Are we, our other goals? Is this going to get in the way of our other goals? And she said to me, Anna, that you can still have your goals and be aware of the path or the plan that you made to get to those goals and find another path to get there and still have that same goal accomplished. And that was such a gift to me, that conversation, because I am realizing the more and more as I get a little bit older is that I don't pivot as much as I thought I used to. That's a funny statement. I don't think I pivot as much as I thought that I could or that I did. And that I can get in this plan of this is how it's supposed to look. And then lo and behold, it looks so different. And I'm kind of left scrambling to figure out whether or not the goal that I was trying to reach ever got accomplished. And so my girlfriend sharing that with me, of letting me know that, you can take a different path to get to your goal and you're still able to accomplish what you've set out to do, was such a huge thing for me. And so thinking about going into this weekend, and of course, Mari and I have put so much energy into our plans, right, of preparing for this weekend and just really wanting to hold the space for all of these women that are coming from different walks of life, but also knowing that they need this time for themselves, that most of our plans are not going to go the way that we envisioned. And I know that's kind of a no-brainer, but there's also a part of me that today is very much at peace with knowing that it's going to play out the way that it's really meant to. And that this whole energy of all these women coming together and trusting myself and trusting Mari and trusting the process is going to be beautiful, irregardless of how it turns out or how the plans go, right? Because we know at the end of the day, it's going to turn out beautiful. And if our plans are not, cemented in the ways that we believe they should, that they can still be really, really beautiful. And so that kind of ties into this idea of kind of the conversation with my husband and I, thinking that, there are so many reasons why it is right for us to make this decision to buy this house now. And because it doesn't feel right, we need to trust that. And I think I shared with you guys a while ago about the book Start With Why or Starting With Why by Simon Sinek. And I'll post it in the show notes so you guys have it. But one thing that he talks about in that book and in his TED Talk too, he's got a great TED Talk, I'll post that as well, is this idea of something being logical and linear and having your pros and cons list and it being the right thing and it not feeling right. And that the majority of our decisions are made from whether or not it feels right. And he obviously talks about this in the context of business and customers and consumers and selling products and things like that. But we need to know that our brain, the magical way that it works, it supports us to make decisions from a place that is not connected to our brain. It's a feeling, it's the gut, it's the intuition, it's the deep wisdom, it's God, it's whoever you call it, but it's that place knowing that feeling what is right for you is usually more accurate than the pro and con list. And that to me has been a beautiful gift that I have literally these past few weeks been able to embrace, but also something I'm realizing that I'm getting better at and more honed in on, of being able to trust myself, of being able to trust the process even though it doesn't make sense, of being able to have faith that although it will never make sense to me, I can still trust that the feeling I have, the knowing I have is part of something bigger. And, I remember from an early age, and this is, I would say that I've always been somebody who's been intuitive, if you will. I grew up with a spiritual background. So in what other capacity you want to describe it as, but I've always had a very strong intuition. I've had a sense of things. And as a younger person, having a sense of things that you could never explain was kind of an odd experience, to put it at best, right? Because I never could say why it didn't feel right or why it did feel right. And yet, when I made decisions or trusted myself to make decisions around things that did feel right or did not feel right, I was rarely wrong. And yet I've spent years of my life ignoring that part of me, that deep wisdom, that deep intuition. And, I think I'll have to do some more soul searching to understand why I ignored those pieces. I think that growing up, you problem solve, right? You use logic and linear thinking to be able to work problems through in your head. And being able to support a feeling that you have is really difficult to kind of support with strong evidence, right? So I think there's a part of kind of our culture that's saying, no, you need to back it up with facts, right? And when you back something up with a feeling, it's pretty confusing. So I know that part of that was my journey, was just being able to trust that feeling had a lot of validity. And honestly, what I have noticed, especially over these last few years, and I get great reminders all the time, is that when I lean into that voice, right, that wisdom, that intuition, that kind of connection for me, that I can be more at peace with the decisions I make out of that. So I want to tell you kind of a crazy story that connects with it. So like I said, we've been dreaming about this house. We found this house. It kind of just appeared, right? And it's exactly what we want. It's the home that we would live in for the next 20 years and raise our family in. And amazing assets, right? Amazing pros. And I literally had decorated every single room in this home, and in my head, obviously. And I had such a crispness with the details of this. And we've been kind of going back and forth for the last maybe 10 days about what to do. And I mean, to the point we've put in an offer and there's been a counter and we have to decide whether or not to accept it, right? And we decided, obviously, that we were not going to move forward with the purchase and that we weren't going to accept the counter offer. And that night, when I slept very peacefully for the first time in a couple weeks. And when I woke up the next morning, I could not for the life of me tell you the details that were the most crystal clear details of how I was going to paint my kids' rooms and, set up the kitchen and all these sorts of things. I couldn't tell you of any of that because all the clarity that I had previously before we made the decision to walk away, all that clarity was gone. And it wasn't. At first, it was almost like I was looking through a fog trying to search for those details. And now it's been 2 days since we've made that decision. And it's like they're not even in existence anymore. And it's freaking me out. It is. It's freaking me out that something that I had I saw us in this home. And because my husband and I really slowed down the conversation and leaned into the knowing and trusted that piece and had faith that continuing to do what we're doing will yield the result when we're ready. It's like all of a sudden, all those visions have been evaporated, and not from a grief, I'm so devastated way, but from a total peace. And so it's just a very interesting observation that I'm having, that when I trust myself, when I lean into that deep knowing, when I am able to embrace the wisdom that is being handed to me, the decisions that I make out of that are grounded and peaceful and full of faith. They are decisions made out of abundance, not out of fear. And so today, the day before the Shine Retreat, it's Shine Eve, I am trusting that this journey through this weekend, and hopefully one that all things will allow me to continue checking in each day with you guys, that this journey will be one that is beautiful because it's about leaning into that deep wisdom. And so my takeaway to all of you is, because I know you're all on your own journeys, and some of them are just absolutely brutal right now. I encourage you to lean into that knowing, that intuition, that wisdom, that faith, whatever you call it, lean into that just to see what comes. And you might have a very similar experience that you get great direction from that wisdom and it allows a great peace to overcome you. And that really is my hope. So that is it for today. I am excited for this weekend, obviously, and the next month of podcasts, like I said, are not going to be devoted to everything shine, but really devoted to walking this journey together when we have a challenge in front of us and trying to be as present in the process as possible. Thank you guys so much for letting me into your worlds, into your hearts. I am excited to be back. I missed all of you last month, and I cannot wait to see where our journey takes us next. Take care, ladies. Bye-bye.
Want to learn about the latest retreats, workshops, and speaking events hosted by Anna? Head over to herlifeunscripted.com to get in on all the juicy details. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast so we can continue to grow our amazing audience. Lastly, be sure and send in your voice feedback via the SpeakPipe app or to Anna@herlifeunscripted.com. We can't wait to hear from you.